All right. What up, Rake?
What up, Hyde?
How's it going? Welcome to episode 2 of
Teaching
Teaching
off the books.
What do we have today?
So today,
What's our topic?
we're going to talk about some news that we got from our district about returning to school. So,
What's that news?
well, we're not returning to school.
Yeah. All right.
So that's the news.
That is the news. How do you feel about it? How do your kids feel about it?
Okay, well, I feel really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really upset about it. I know that it's for the best, obviously.
Were you expecting it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the back of my mind,
Right. You didn't want to give up hope?
definitely not.
Yeah.
But maybe I was just in denial.
I think so.
Definitely. Because I wanted to come back and I wanted to see them, especially the seniors, just because,
Sure.
we've been together for 4 years, 3 years, some of them. So it was like a really important year for them and just for our class. So it is really, really sad.
Yeah, I had a feeling I had already said in my head that we weren't coming back.
Really? So you
yeah.
knew?
I mean, yeah, I had accepted it. At this point, finals are canceled.
True.
Most testing is canceled. What would be the point of coming back? On May 1st, we have another 3 weeks of school.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that's going to affect how the kids work the rest of the school year?
For sure. Definitely. I think it might be better, though, honestly.
Why?
Good question. Seems counterintuitive. So, now they know that we're not coming back. So I have a feeling that some kids had in their head that they would just kind of coast onto this e-learning thing, and then when we got back to school, hey, how do I bring my grade up
Right.
in the last 2 weeks? So now that they know they're not coming back, they know that they have to do something. This is my positive spin.
That's your positive spin?
Yeah, that they're going to do more work because of this.
I have a feeling that's going to be the opposite. I feel like they're going to do less work because they know they can get by. Because it's going to be a lot harder to fail a student now. You have to have empathy for their situation.
Sure.
And what if they didn't have this or their resources? It's going to be really difficult to be like, this kid fails.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not that I am seeking that or
Yeah, it
anything.
sounds like you're looking for somebody to nail.
Definitely not.
Just kidding.
Kids
Well,
are- kids
do you
are doing
think
the work.
kids, you're right about having to be empathetic to the situation. It's definitely tough for everyone. What do you think about, what percentage of the kids do you think take advantage of that?
You're asking me a math question?
Is that a math question?
A percentage? A
Okay.
percentage of kids that what?
That take advantage of that situation. Like,
Oh, a
I know
lot.
my teachers are going to take it easy on me because of this, so I'm not going to do anything. I have everything I need. I have all the tools. I have a computer. I have a strong internet connection, and I can read well. And I just don't want to do any work, so
I don't know. I
not
mean,
going to.
maybe not as a large percentage as I think, but I definitely have probably
You could
4
think
or
of at
5
least-
kids
yeah.
are in my classes
Okay.
total
Sure.
that would do that. So
Yeah,
maybe it's less than I actually think.
yeah. I think the percentage is
Mm-hmm.
pretty small, and thinking about it, I can only think of 1 or 2 kids that I know are just straight up being lazy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teaching TV production, I know it's not a huge priority for them.
Yeah, that's true. And I teach an elective too, although it's literally English. The
Right.
English language is what, they need for life and for everything.
What about the kids who know that they are completely capable? Like, I remember you talking about kids who failed the WIDA test on purpose so they could stay in ESOL classes.
Yeah.
What do you think those kids are doing right now?
I think they're focusing, well, I don't know. They're not focused on my class.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think they're focused more on their core classes because I'll talk to their, other teachers and like, oh, they're doing the work for my class. I'm like, okay, well, your
least they're
class
doing
counts
something.
towards, graduation requirement, technically. But, my class is a language acquisition class. So, I mean, I think it's still important.
Right? Is there
But
any
at the end of the
feelings?
day, yeah, it hurts my feelings. Well, because they know too. They're like, oh, Miss Rake will understand.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
which is true, but it still sucks.
It's frustrating, yes, because you want the best for them, and you know what they need to do. You know the moves they need to make in order to get to where they need to be, and to watch them not do that can be frustrating.
Yeah, and one of the things I realized during this whole experience is that kids, they don't know how to use the computer.
No, they don't. I have
Why?
I have a theory. Because they're phones. They grew up on phones. The keyboard and mouse interface, they don't have experience with. So, like, think about when was the first time you ever used a computer, like a desktop mouse keyboard?
I don't know, maybe first grade.
Okay.
That was like 1990.
Did you have a computer at home?
Yeah,
That's it.
but it was huge.
Right, but it had a mouse and a keyboard.
Yeah, it did.
Right, so the interface, they're used to a touch screen. And I've seen it with their motor skills. Watching them try to use, it's like watching someone for the first time try to use a mouse. And I think about, how much muscle memory we have built up over time of using a mouse, but to watch them try to, especially edit video where you have to be very precise about where you're putting,
Yeah, true.
they struggle with it. And
Yeah.
I think that's why.
That's probably true. I mean, because they can use their phones no problem. But as soon as you tell them, okay, open up Microsoft Word, type this, and then save it as a file, and then email it to me, it is like their minds are blown.
It is. Have you ever had a student put 2 spaces between each word
Oh my
to double space their paper?
No, but they don't. But I have had kids. They use the cap locks to capitalize instead of just holding shift.
Oh, I've noticed that too.
I'm
What's
like-
up with that though? Like,
It's like do,
then
and
they
that's
hit
why
one
their
letter.
passwords are always wrong. Because like when we do College Board sign up or like ACT, you have to have a capital letter.
Right.
And they're like cap locks are for it because I always do the same password. And
don't tell what it is.
I know. But like it's a capital. But then they don't know. They're like, oh, did I turn the cap locks off?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Or like how to make an exclamation point. They don't. It's like they think that you hit shift once and then click the number one.
They don't get
you have to hold it. Like
Yeah.
there's
so
no
that's
class.
the type of thing, because if you're on your phone on a touch screen,
You
there's
don't need
no
to do that.
holding. There's no holding it
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah, and I think in my opinion, I think that every student should be required to take a keyboarding class of some sort of computer class. That was a requirement when I was in high school,
Yeah.
and it was the best class looking
Are you
back.
really good at typing now?
Yeah,
Do you use all your fingers?
you used 4. You used not all of them. You don't
Spacebar?
use. Well, yeah. Well, so yeah, I guess you.
Did
do.
you take a typing class for real?
I'm like, wait, do I use them all? Yeah, for the most part, yeah, I do.
So you put your, what is it, F and J? What are the letters?
Isn't it like Q W E R?
Well, yeah, that's in the front. But I'm talking about,
What do you mean?
there's 2 keys that have little bumps on them. That's
Oh,
where
I
the-
don't even notice that. I don't even know.
Okay.
I took a class.
I believe
But
you.
anyways, it was the best class, and they talked about, they worked you through Microsoft and how to use Excel, which I still kind of suck at. But at least I know how to save a file now.
Right.
But
Well, that's another thing about,
crazy.
so you know the button that you have to click to save the file?
Yeah.
What is that button?
The button to save the file?
Yeah.
The
Like the
save
icon?
button?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a save button.
Right, but it's a specific shape, right?
Yeah, it's a what is it called? Oh my gosh,
That
what is it called?
thing from
A flip
Floppy disk, not a flippy disk.
disk.
That's something else. A floppy disk, right?
Oh,
So
that's
they
funny.
have no experience.
Yeah, they don't know what a floppy disk looks like.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Wow. Because I know what that is.
I know,
Because I
barely.
use them. Yeah, barely. I didn't know the name. Flippy.
Right,
I knew
but-
it started with an F.
But it's a real thing in real life.
Well, not
so
anymore.
Right. So to them, it just is the save button.
Or they don't know what the button is. They're like, what the hell is that
Well,
thing?
I think a lot of them. Right. You're right.
if
right.
they've never used it before.
Sure. But even the kids that do know what it is for,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what it is. They've just memorized it because so it's that shape, so that you know without it's intuitive.
Without looking. It's a visual. Which
Right.
should be helpful for my ESOL kids.
Except it's like
But
having
it's
a picture
not.
of like a horse-drawn wagon.
Yeah, like they don't know. Well, it's just because their generation is so different. But even just like if I put the directions in Spanish,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because whatever the translation is isn't what's on their screen. So if you're like, oh, click save as, it says a completely different word. So like it doesn't even help. So I have to like take screenshots of like what it looks like, where they're supposed to click. So like e-learning has
And
been
then-
so hard.
So that's something that I've done a lot of in TV production is walking kids through either using software or using a website, taking screenshots, and I've made like tutorial videos where they follow along and do it. But I found that it doesn't. It's not like an effective teaching tool. Like it'll
Right.
get them there, but they don't remember that stuff because they're literally just mimicking what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's true.
yeah.
I just feel like now we're in week 3 or 4 of e-learning. They're constantly saving their documents now, so I have more hope for the rest of the school year.
Oh, it's gonna get better. Go ahead. No, you don't think so?
No, I'm like, no, I hope you're right. I do. I hope that it does get better. I had a girl today, she sent me something without any help. And she's someone who has been messaging me like crazy. Like, how do I save it?
Did you
How do
tell
I do this?
her-
How do I do that?
Good job. Did you tell her good
Oh,
job?
yeah. That's the first thing I said. I was
Amazing.
like, wow, I'm so proud of you for saving this and sending it to my email without
No,
asking.
It's progress, and that's
It is.
I had a student who was very intimidated with all this stuff, and like I helped her do something. It was something like that, upload
Yeah.
a document or something, and the first email she had sent me was like, I don't think I can do this. What if a student, in parentheses, maybe me, doesn't know how to do anything like this, isn't good with computers, blah, blah, blah. And I
Bad
told
times to
her,
drink.
well, if a student was like that, I would help them until blah, blah, blah. And like, we got there and I was like, look how far we've come.
Yeah.
But she did just send me one assignment in like 4 different documents. She made it like a different document for each question.
Oh my gosh. Why'd she do that?
I don't know.
At least she knows how to use all
I
4
don't know why she did
documents.
that.
Yeah. They just need to be like, immersed into
And that's what they
using
are.
a desktop.
Yeah, I feel like everybody is all these changes that we made to moving to online classes, we did this in like 2 weeks, and we're still doing it, really.
Yeah.
But I think these changes that we are making are changes that were coming in the future anyway, and like this whole thing has accelerated that. Like, do you think there'll be long-lasting changes to education based on like what's going on
I
right
was
now?
just thinking about that question.
crazy.
Crazy. Do I think that I think teaching's definitely gonna change.
Yeah.
I know that I was reflecting on that, and because of all the issues we've had with online learning, I'm like, okay, as soon as next year starts, I'm having like a class on how to use our grading platform at SV. I'm gonna do this and
it's
that.
not
I'm
gonna
gonna
be-
teach
it's
how
good-
to Microsoft and save a file, like first week of
Yeah.
school. And then I was thinking too, like adding more assignments on the computer. That way they can practice more. Because I feel like the only time we practice is when we type essays.
Well, I will
That's
tell
it.
you. I will tell you this: you have to use it consistently.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the difference now, is because I had my kids at the beginning of this year set up a folder on OneDrive that was shared with me, so that we both could drag and drop files to
Right.
share with each other. So we'd have this open platform all year long. And started out, it was a struggle more so than I thought it would be, just getting them to do that, download files, upload them, share it with me. And then we used it for our first project, like very much so. Our second project was not so much, and we kind of fell away from it. And like now we're using that same platform, and it's like,
You have to teach it all over again.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, teaching kids just how to log into the computers at school
Sure.
took me an entire class period with 2 paraprofessionals. And there was only 21 students with 3 teachers that speak Spanish. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And I made them all, we together made them all new email accounts
Yeah.
because I wanted them just for my class.
Mhm.
I can't. I just
No.
can't. I can't do that
I tried to
anymore.
have them make email addresses. I gave up after one period.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this is what I swear. I was like, everybody's gonna have a professional email address. We'll
Nope.
go to Google. All you gotta do is figure out first name, last name, birthday, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I mean, they all have email. Most of them. There's a couple kids that didn't have email addresses.
Yeah.
Most of them had email addresses. I was like, it's gotta be professional.
Right.
By the end of that first period, I was like, got an email address? Fine,
Yeah.
use it.
I know. That's what I had to do for like SAT and ACT and like College Board and.
Yeah.
But I just wanted them to have an email that we could just use, and it took forever.
hmm
Or like the Gmail sends you a code on your phone.
Oh,
Well, then it was
death.
like,
I don't have a signal.
yeah, and then or the code wouldn't be sent, or they didn't have a phone, or this or that, and I was like, well, just use my phone. But I could only use my phone twice before Gmail was like, you can't use this phone anymore, and I was like, oh, what is going on?
Probably on a list now.
And then I was like, screw this, I'm never doing this again. And then all of the things that we were gonna use the email for all year, I was like, fuck, I'm not doing this anymore. I just did different stuff. But yeah, so part of that is, we always preach about being college and career ready,
Yeah.
everywhere. But I feel like I see it like a lot in our school. And this experience made me think my kids are not prepared for college in the realm of using technology or how to type or communicate with a professor. They're, like, what up?
Sure.
Hey.
Yeah.
Like there's a very informal language and there's no capital letters.
Because they're texting.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's gonna be my next lesson next week. And then I'm gonna write that down. Teaching professionalism through
Text.
messaging.
Email.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Anyway, so do you think these kids are prepared?
No, but what came to mind when you were saying that was I know a lot of adults who barely know how to use a computer.
Why? Why do you think that? Like, what kind of...
Usually they're older.
I'm not trying to be mean or anything.
Well,
but I
sometimes
know that
it
came
just
off
happens.
kind of bitchy. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, wait, but like anyone our age or older
it's
kind
usually
of can.
It's usually older people,
Mm-hmm.
but also I think I have like probably more computer knowledge than average. Like,
Well, yeah.
if this is average, I'm like right here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, you're also a TV production teacher, so you have to like
Sure,
know certain
yeah.
things about technology that other people probably wouldn't.
Yes, that's true. But before I got into that,
Okay. Like you're obviously above average.
I won't go that far. But it just I've been in situations where it's boggled my mind that
Yeah.
you don't know how to do that, and
Yeah.
we do the same job,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know how to do
Oh, you're talking about like other like
Adults.
veteran teachers, like
Yeah.
okay.
it. And
Well, that makes more sense.
and I think there's also this. There was this refrain. I'm just not a technology person. You hear old people say that a lot.
Yeah, but it's like
I don't think it's a thing anymore. You can't not
you
be a
can't not
technology.
be, not in this
Right.
generation.
So I think that's going away. And so every time I hear someone say that, I'm not a technology. I'm like, oh,
You're one of those.
just go draw in the dirt with a stick.
I know, seriously. Or like, there's a couple teachers. They're like, "You get in my room because you know how to do this," and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh no, what is it? I can't connect my elbow to my
"Well,
computer.
I've been that teacher before." And the teacher across the hall, we both know, and he's like, "Rake, what
He
the
made
hell
fun of you,
are you
right?
doing?"
Good. All right.
I was like, "I don't know." That stuff is confusing. I don't do well with cords and cables. I do good
Okay.
with like computers or whatever.
Typing.
Typing.
All right.
Yeah, but I don't think that I think if I was a college professor, I would lose my mind on these incoming seniors if that's what they chose to do for college, if they chose to go to college.
Do you think they adjust?
Do you think they adjust the kids?
Yeah, quickly.
I don't know, because if they've never had an example of how to be,
Mhm.
then how do they know how to act?
I think.
Like, they just message us on Edsby and they're like, "Hey, what's my assignment? Hey, what up, miss? How are you? Cool. Awesome. Blah, blah, blah." But, like, I mean, they might not know better to just do that to a professor. Like someone that's higher up or a boss.
And so that's, yeah. So I think they adjust more than we give them credit for. I think they are like this, because I think all the time, like, how helpless they are, or they
I'm a
seem.
hand holder, I know.
Yeah, but like but also they only, and I think it's true in general, people only do what they have to do, right? If there's
Yeah.
somebody that, if they have a support system, they're going to use that support system.
True.
So I think there are definitely kids that are going to go to college and fail. But I think most kids will adjust in time to sort of be okay.
I think it's gonna take some failure.
Oh yeah,
Like I'm waiting for a professor to be like, "Excuse me."
That first quarter, I have a story about that actually.
Oh, really?
I had a student who had her and her sister. She was the oldest one, and she worked at the grocery store by school. So after she graduated, I would see her at the grocery store. And one day she said, "Hey, let me tell you this." I think I asked her, she's going to college. I was like, "How's it going?" She's like, "Oh, let me tell you this story. So I had a paper that was due at midnight, and I turned it in." She had to submit it online. I turned it in 15 minutes late, and I got a 0. My professor didn't give me any credit. And then I emailed my professor, and this is where I was like, "How did you know?" She said, "The professor didn't even answer my question. She just sent me a copy of the syllabus where it says late assignments will not be accepted." And she was like, "Can you believe that?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes,
I
because
can
that's
believe
what
that."
she said, or he,
Right.
or whoever.
Yeah. And
Well, they don't read the syllabus.
no, but like she did that time.
Well, she did that
day,
time. So
yeah.
I bet she won't have a late assignment again.
Right, and that's why I think most of them will adjust in time, but it'll be rough.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a rough start. But I definitely need to start being like, okay, I need to see capitalized letters and periods
Right.
and some professionalism here because my class now has kind of changed. Not changed, but I want to incorporate more English acquisition through life skills. So like they wrote a resume. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Did a great job. It took a couple weeks, but we did it.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, write a resume. And then they had to answer interview questions and record themselves reading their interview
Yeah.
questions. And I was like, you can't say, I don't know. That's not an option.
It's
you need,
not.
like, explain a time that you worked in a team.
Yeah.
First of all, you sit in groups in my class. You work in a team every day.
Yeah.
Explain one of those times where you worked in a group.
Oh.
One question was like, explain a time you've been a leader. I've never been a leader. I'm like,
Oh my God.
explain one time.
Well, I think that's part of the. They give up so easily, and they're so
Yeah.
used to just saying, "I don't know," or no, like they're
Yeah.
not forced outside of their comfort zone to have to give an answer a lot.
You know what's really sad though is in the resume I had skills and qualifications, areas of expertise, and a lot of them didn't write anything. They literally wrote nothing, and I had to reply to them and say, "You don't think you're good at anything? First of all, you're bilingual. That's amazing." And they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "You are a translator. You translated for kids in class. That's really important." And I was like, I was shocked at how much like their self-esteem
Yeah.
was super low and the confidence in themselves, and they didn't
Right.
really know who they were, what they were good at. It
Yeah.
was weird.
Um.
I'm like, why is that? Why do you not think that you have skills?
Someone has to tell them.
Yeah, well, I wrote like all of their resumes. I was like bilingual, translator, da da da. Like,
Well, and I don't think they realize those things are skills. Also.
oh, maybe
Um.
that's true. I didn't think of that.
But I don't know. I always hated that part in a resume, like skills.
Do you work well on a team?
Yeah. I know how to bullshit a resume now. Thank you. I'm just
Give me an
saying.
Works well on Microsoft Word.
But I always just hate doing that because it's so.
Well, you gotta sell yourself.
I know. I hate that. I don't like that.
I like it.
Do you?
I'm like, these are all the things I'm good at, and hire me. On paper, yeah.
On paper,
I
yeah.
I wouldn't talk like that in a group of friends. Like, oh, I'm so good at this. Like, I know people like that, and I hate that. Like, okay. I actually get uncomfortable.
I felt that.
I actually get uncomfortable when they're like, I'm an amazing teacher. I know I'm amazing. I know I'm great. And I just sit there and Okay, great.
Why are you telling us? If you know, who are you trying to convince here?
I actually get really hot when that happens. I'm like,
Is that rage? What is that?
it's embarrassment for the other person.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing. Like, you have to tell yourself these things.
Oh.
I feel like I just offended multiple people. But I'm not sitting in a group of my colleagues like,
Right, I get
dude,
what you're saying.
I'm so good at teaching me an idea. Like
You gotta
you might
tell-
think you're okay, but I'm
You
so
have to
much
tell
better.
the people that need to know.
Maybe.
No, well, the people who need to know are the people who are going to hire you, right? Or,
Well, yes, but you're not going to come off cocky. You're going to say, this is what I did in this class, and this is how it supported kids. It comes off different. It's
Examples are good, right?
Not,
Yeah, because also
It's so weird. It's annoying.
examples are way better. Because anybody can just say, I'm a great teacher.
Well, you know what's funny?
What?
In the resumes the kids created, some of them pretended like they had already had jobs. And I was like, wait, I know this kid isn't a barber.
Okay.
I'm like, you can't lie.
That's... Whoa!
You can't lie
You taught
on a
them how to...
resume.
Yeah.
But they were like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
About lying on resumes?
Yeah,
People do it all the time.
that's so messed up.
Unethical. You're right.
They were acting as if
so-
they already had these
Okay,
jobs.
that's pretty
I was like,
extreme.
no.
I guess I'm talking about good old-fashioned embellishment, just kind of fluffing things up a little more than they are.
Yeah, well, someone said they played basketball, and I was like, no, you don't.
As a job?
As
as
like
a
an
sport?
extracurricular like thing.
Yeah, no.
I was like, in
that's
your
the
yard?
best thing to lie about. Are you kidding? You
As
think
a-
they're going to call the school, hey, can I speak to the basketball coach? I just want to make sure this kid isn't lying about playing basketball when I'm trying to hire
I
him at
guess.
Wendy's.
Oh, that's true. But still, it's super unethical.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to get your foot in the door.
What are you trying to teach these kids?
I'm not teaching them anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was shocking. Like, this one kid said that he was a barber.
Well,
and I was
think-
like, are you really? And he's like, no, that's a job I want. And I was like, you can't put that. You can't put
Well-
that. You have to put jobs you've had or have.
So this is what I think was going on there, is it's hard for them, if not impossible, for them to like look at that as a real life exercise.
Yeah.
So for them, it's just like another worksheet. I got to fill in, like.
You think that my lesson wasn't
No,
good?
not your lesson, but think about, did you have like one of those like an application or a resume where they filled in things?
So I had my
Give them
resume.
a template, right?
I had my resume. I did a video.
Okay.
I did a
I'm
Zoom
not,
video.
I feel like you're getting
I know,
defensive right now.
I am like angry.
I'm not
Okay,
attacking you.
So I did a Zoom video, and I told him how to do it. I gave him my resume as an example,
Right.
and then I gave him a template. I said, fill in the blanks. That's really great.
It is. My point is, when you give them a piece of paper and tell them to fill in the blanks, they just kind of like cruise control. Like, I know how to fill in blanks on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
guess I
not
could have
like
done
a-
a brainstorm first.
Maybe.
Like,
what I'm
who
saying,
am I?
it wasn't real to them. It was just something they're doing in school.
Yeah.
So I can put like this fake job that I never had, because all I'm doing is turning this thing in for
That's
a grade.
true. And I had to tell kids, like, this is something, when they did that type of
Yeah.
bullshit and they submitted it, submitted it back in red and and I just told them, you're going to use this. Like, I saved
Right.
all the resumes on my computer just so
I
in case
know,
they ever
yeah,
need them, But yeah, it is hard to see the importance of something. I mean, I definitely took assignments in school not so seriously. I'm like, oh, I probably should have.
Right.
It's all hindsight, and it
It
sucks.
is. Do you ever feel like you're filling up for them, like filling up a bucket of stuff that they're gonna need later? You know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like they don't even know, like you're just kind of look, and maybe not necessarily in like academic lessons, but just like life lesson kind of things. Like they don't. A lot of them don't hear you. They just can't hear grown-ups give advice. But you're like, just put
You
this
just
in the
gotta
bucket.
know,
Just put it in the
yeah.
bucket that you carry for the rest of your life. Like 10 years, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be looking at that bucket. Oh yeah, Mr. Hyde said I was gonna need this.
Yeah, that's true.
Here it is. but it's not till later that they get it.
Well, I think that's true for like freshman to senior year. Like when I taught freshmen in reading, and I was like, the FSA is so important. The FSA is so important. And then when they were still in reading in 12th grade, they were like, I should have listened to you. And I was like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I know. I was telling you this was going to happen if you didn't do X, Y, and Z. So.
How about this? Do you ever, do kids ever want you to be surprised with them that you're right? They're like, come up, oh, miss, you were right. And they're like, really, and they want you
they'll
to.
be like, oh my God, I was.
They want you
No, I know.
to share their excitement, but you knew you were right all along, and you're assaulted that they're like surprised now.
They never come excited. They go, miss.
Yeah.
You were right. They're not happy. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Why? What'd I do? What happened?
That's
I'm happy now.
my response to that is always, I know. About what?
And I feel like my mom, because she did that shit to me.
How so? Just
Like, I would mess up and something would happen, and I'd be like, oh. Like, I still call her to this day, and I'm like, so remember that one time? Yeah, I should have listened to you. I'm sorry. Like, I've done that so many times as an adult that.
And so now and she probably is just glowing in joy.
Yeah, and she's like, like, I won't say anything, but you know how I feel. I'm like, yeah, well, here we are, 28 years later. Can finally admit that you were right. But yeah, I think a lot of them will come back after all of this and hopefully appreciate going to school.
Yeah. Have you ever had a kid come back and apologize?
Oh yeah, multiple times.
They all do, right?
Yeah, which is actually really big of them.
It is. You're right.
You know, the kids that don't come back, you're like, fuck you.
You
didn't learn yet. Or maybe you learned, but you're too...
They don't want to show they're embarrassed.
Yeah. Or guilty people stay away type of deal. So...
Right.
Or, like, I have those kids in the hall that I used to teach, and, like, we just didn't have a good relationship for whatever reason. And it's like, we know each other. And I know that you threw a desk in 9th grade.
Yeah.
In my class.
Yeah.
At me. But we're going to walk through the hall like that never happened.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's whatever.
Yeah, so how do you think this is going to permanently change education, all this e-learning stuff?
Honestly, I've talked to a couple of people, and a lot of people think that we're just going to have e-learning
Forever?
Forever.
What?
I was like, that's not possible, number one. Parents work. Like, imagine all the parents that are working from home / have kids at home right now.
Well, so they think that, they think it'll just be better, or do they think that this coronavirus thing is going to make us
Oh,
do it
no, I don't
forever?
think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just like, not that it's easier, but I think that some of the world wants to move to more technology learning. Like, there are some schools that all of their, like, classes are on tablets, and, like, every kid gets a computer and,
Right.
that
Yes.
type of thing. So I feel like, I think there should be both. I think there should be definitely, like, a good mix, because you need to socialize with people.
Yeah.
We can't be robots.
Well, so that's what I was thinking is like, so if I see the scenario, I could very easily see the post-apocalyptic scenario of everybody's like can't leave their house, everything is delivered, education is just on TV, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's, in real life, I see it more being a more blended model. And also, it's time we get rid of fucking periods. Like having 45-minute classes.
Yeah.
And ringing a bell and going somewhere else and fucking partying for 5 minutes in the hallway.
Yep.
And then expected to like do work again for 45 minutes straight.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can see that being something that goes away. Also, just I think more of a blended model where maybe kids come to school 3 days a week.
And the other, doesn't one school do that? I feel like a school does that somewhere in, like, the Carolinas, maybe. And they go to school a certain amount of time, and then they use computers. They do online classes next. That would be kind of nice.
It would. And I do also like the... I heard once that our school spends $40,000 a year on paper.
Wow, that's insane.
So
What?
$40,000. Right.
So we'd save a lot of money for one.
Well, that's what I was, like.
Well, then
I don't know what the price breakdown is for like
for computers, for every
2,200
kid.
iPads. Is that
Yeah.
more or less than $40,000?
I have no idea. Don't ask me.
I'm not gonna do the math right now.
But yeah, I think that's well, I mean I think that would be a better idea. I think that this whole like e-learning thing has made people think about what needs to change in education. Like spring break happened and then the district came out and was like, "Okay, we're not going back to school till April 15th. We're canceling testing." That was the first thing they got rid of. Which it blew my mind because I was.
Was it? I thought it was
Yes.
after the next one. I thought it was after May 1st.
No,
No,
they
you're right.
they canceled testing literally right after our spring break ended, and they extended another week for our e-learning, like let's get ready week.
Right, that's
and then
right.
they were like, "Oh yeah, we're done with FSA. We're not going to do state testing anymore. No EOCs, no nothing." And I was like, "Wait, this is messed up." So the thing you make me teach all
Yeah.
year is the first thing to get like canceled.
I remember having that same thought and just being like, "Wait, just like that?
Yeah, is that
Just
fucking
like
easy?
that? Just like that?"
State testing's done. I was like, that must mean that it's not as important.
Yeah. You just told everybody it doesn't fucking matter. Now everybody knows.
So is that going to have effect on next year? Like, are those kids going to care? They're like, well, they canceled FSA immediately after spring break. Like, that's how I view it as a teacher. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we need to rethink how we do this whole testing thing. I know we can get into testing. It's a long conversation, yada, yada. But that was a big significant thing that I was thinking about.
Well, and I think also, I wonder what's going to happen with just the exams because they canceled exams too. Which
Right.
exams, a lot of people don't know. I don't think that the curve that are put on their final exams, midterm and final exams. So like I remember in reading, you had to get like
14 answers correct to get a
yeah
D.
yeah. So like you had to get like 7 right out of 30 to fail.
Yeah. You had to really, really try to fail.
So, and I know kids know that the exams are curved so hard. So a lot of kids don't try. And I wonder if this will, because people have been talking about moving to standards-based grading for a long time, and I wonder if we'll be pushed in that direction because of
True.
all this stuff. Because right now, all we're going off is our students' grades.
Exactly.
In the class, and I don't know what teachers are doing about tests. Like, I don't even know what other teachers' classes look like. Are they still like going through units and having tests? At
Some
the
are,
end?
yeah. I mean, I've had to look at a lot of their stuff just because I'm helping the ESOL kids with their other classes,
Right.
and they're sending me like their PowerPoints and things. And English teachers are still teaching characterization. They're still teaching their standards. Like in our PLCs, they push. Okay, what standard are you working on? So they're still.
What are their
But-
lessons looking like? Like, what do they make a video of themselves explaining?
They have a
shit?
video. They have a PowerPoint that the kids have to save. They have to save the PowerPoint to their own computer and then complete the activities within the PowerPoint, save it, then send it back. And that's just one of their classes. So, and then other teachers are just using like Cornell Notes or like things like that, like watch this video and answer the questions, which seems pretty simplistic. But we're there in PLCs. They're still pushing agendas, even though someone told us, guys,
Let's make this a good experience for everyone involved.
It's a great time to be a teacher. You can teach, be creative,
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why did you become a teacher?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, is he telling me to do whatever the fuck I want?
Well, that's I'm very interested about this meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to teach what I think the kids need because
Yeah.
I'm not teaching to the test anymore. So, like we talked about last time, like we felt
Yeah.
like robots. I
Yeah.
no longer feel like a robot. I feel more like, okay, I can actually help more now, but now I don't see them physically. So now
even harder to help.
it's good, but it's bad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, so I've got a few kids that are like really into making videos, and I've got a few kids that are probably really good storytellers that I didn't really realize that having them do this thing online that's the art of storytelling. Um, and it's always the quiet, smart kids, you know what I mean, that are pretty shy. And I think it's very interesting communicating through written language with these kids. And that was one thing that I thought would be an advantage for like reading.
Right.
Maybe you. I'm sure it's kind of a pain in the ass, but like really, you're in real life using writing to communicate.
Yeah.
You have to understand what people are saying because
True.
everything counts on you getting that and doing what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
And then you have to be able to communicate back. Some kids have sent me some messages where I've been like, "What are you even trying to say?" Right
Yeah.
now?
What do you? Yeah. Thank God for Google Translate.
Yeah.
In my situation, I also have some two really great paraprofessionals that translate. But yeah, the kids are having to use English more than ever,
Yeah.
and I think that's a huge challenge. But I also think it's going to really help them in the long run immerse in the English language because everything their teachers are doing is in English.
Right.
Whereas like in school, they'd have their friends sitting next to them who speak Spanish or French or Creole or Arabic, and they had that support. Whereas now it's like I'm alone.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was talking about before about kids having to, or people in general, only doing what they have to do, what they're forced to do. So, like, they're in this situation now where they have to grow.
Yeah.
They have to grow. It's adapt or die, and they have to grow. And it's a matter of everybody hits that point at some point, right? It's just a matter of where you hit it. Typically speaking, the earlier the better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to get it when you're like 5 years old. You're probably not going to make it. But,
True.
you know,
Yeah.
it's better to struggle when you're younger, for sure.
Well, yeah, because you're more resilient.
Yeah.
And you can adapt more and be more flexible.
Right.
And I was talking to someone in one of our APs, and they're like, you know, like you said earlier, we don't give our kids enough credit for being resilient and, you know, adaptable.
Right.
Because I'm always like, oh my gosh, do
They're
they
your
know what
little
they're
babies,
doing?
yeah.
You know, I'm hard on them. I am, but I'm also, if they
You
don't have.
are. You really are.
I know I am. I am. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, they don't have what they need.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we need to do this.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know, you need to do this differently.
You're very mama bear. You are very
Yeah,
mama
but
bear.
I'm tough.
You are.
Tough mama bear. You gotta be with those kids.
Yeah.
But then they come to you for everything and everything.
You love that, though.
I love it. I don't think I want my own children, but I love those kids.
Yeah, because
They're my.
you go your separate ways
they're
at
my
the end of the
shit.
day.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
But no, like our ESOL world is like our fam. Like that is where
Right.
we all belong. Like they all have similar stories and similar
Yeah.
situations, and they just get each other. So it's
That's a
just nice.
very interesting thing I've never thought about is a lot of those kids. So you have what's most of your kids' home language? Spanish?
Spanish, yeah.
Would you say what you know, like percentages?
I don't like percentages.
How many non-Hispanic speakers?
Non-Hispanic speakers?
Yeah.
Non-Spanish speakers?
Yeah.
Do I have?
Per
I probably
class?
have like 5 or 6 Haitian Creole, 2 French,
Okay.
1 Arabic. I used to
Okay.
have some kids that spoke Swahili. I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
but predominantly Spanish speaking.
okay, so that's a huge. There's something that ties them together. You know.
Well, their culture for sure.
Right.
Their
But I
culture,
mean, they
everything
have so
about
many. Even Spanish speakers have different cultures, but
True.
I mean, speaking the same language, not speaking English ties them together.
Completely.
Because thinking about like just a regular classroom,
Mm-hmm.
do you have something like that that ties everyone together? You probably don't.
What do you mean?
So like, in a classroom,
Yeah.
regular classroom,
Uh-huh.
you just have a bunch of students.
Yeah, we just sit there. No. Yeah. Well, okay, continue. I need an
And
example.
there's not always like there's not a common thread that ties them all together. So if you have all these
Yeah.
kids, so like let's say 22 out of 24 of your kids speak Spanish.
Oh, okay.
They're like, they have that in common.
And then the other kids who don't.
But even those kids don't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that in common.
Right.
But even, let's just say those two kids feel left out.
Yeah, I've definitely
Just,
experienced that.
Um,
Witnessed it.
but like in a regular classroom, so is it better or worse, I guess, to have like that
Them all
thing?
together.
Right. Or, because when you have that thing that ties them together, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people that are left out. Whereas, let's say there's nothing that everyone has in common, you wind up.
They're just immersed.
Well, but you also end up with little groups, right?
Yeah.
But there's still someone left out. Some people
Yeah,
just
I
get
know.
left
But
out.
I feel like that's just normal. That's normal for any classroom.
For people in general,
For
yes.
yeah, like in any classroom, there's always someone left out, or I feel like there's always
Yeah.
some sort of like group of people that's like stigmatized or whatever,
Right.
or bullied or something.
Or just left out.
Yeah, or just maybe they're just introverts and
ignored.
want to be left alone or whatever. I mean, there's always something. But it's what?
Did you notice that difference of having that? Do your classes feel more united?
Yeah, for sure. We're like a family.
Yeah.
More than I think any other class ever, any
Yeah.
other class I've had was. Because like, so for example, like when a new kid comes to the school, they are like, we get it. We totally get you, bro. Like, or girl, like they get it. Like, they immediately like, oh, let me show you your classes. Like, let me
Okay.
help you around the school. Let me show you how to work the lunch line. Let me help you with your lunch number. Like, they want to help as much as possible, which is something I didn't see before.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it comes from their own experiences. Like,
Yeah.
I know how it felt coming to
Yeah.
America new,
Right.
and I didn't have that support. And, oh my God, you're new, and
I
I want to
can
know
be
you, and
that guy,
I can
yeah.
help you. They always, and they love helping. Like, they really,
do.
they love helping each other. So when we started our mentor, like, ELL club program, we always, like, we put a bilingual upperclassman with a brand new, like,
I remember
you
that.
know, lack
yeah.
of a better term, off the boat.
How
new
did that
student.
go? Yeah. Whoa! Definitely lacking better terms there.
Just saying.
It's true though.
They were
I grew up in
straight
Miami.
here.
I know a lot
Like,
of
they
people.
just were
I'm
here
very
all of a
close
sudden.
to a
I
lot
love
of people
them.
who were fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
I understand.
But you know what I
completely.
mean? Like, they were
I do.
spanking new. We're here maybe less than 12
Right.
hours. I'm enrolling in school. I need help.
Right.
So I don't even remember your question because we went off on that. But no, the kids want to help. They want to help. And
So why is that? Because of their own
because their own
experience?
experiences, yeah. And then the program, yeah. It went okay. A lot of the new kids like didn't, because their first 4 days of school, they already had that help and support,
Right.
so they already had their friends. So when I was like, oh, your mentor is this person, they're like, I already got friends. I already have people that can help
Okay.
me. So I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So maybe I just pair that. So I've been thinking of it differently for next year, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know, it's nice. It's nice. It's like a big fam.
That is nice.
So I feel bad for saying that. You know what I
No,
mean, though.
I do
like
know
they're
what you
brand
mean.
new. Like no one
Well,
get
that's
butthurt about it.
I went to my high school. One of the nicknames of my high school was South Ref for refugee because there were so many Cuban kids who came, and it was straight off the boat. It was right off the
Yeah?
boat for real. And like I knew kids that I was friends with because I played sports. I think I was friends with kids that barely spoke English, but like we were friends.
Yeah.
And like we communicated, one way or another, and it's not like we had conversations, but like we knew what was going
Yeah.
on. And like a lot of those kids, as they went through school, they like I know kids that like didn't speak any English. Like I met them, like I saw them learn English.
yeah. We have a common student, and maybe you'll think of him as I talk, but he doesn't speak Spanish, and he was the only French speaker in his class of Spanish-speaking students. And he actually took Spanish class all 4 years of high school so he could learn how to talk to his friends in Spanish.
That's really cool.
And he's good at it.
Is he?
Yeah, and him and all the other Spanish-speaking kids are like best friends.
That's awesome.
I mean, they be speaking English together, but all of a sudden, you'll hear a group of kids speaking Spanish, and this kid will be like, yeah, and you're like, wait, you don't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
you speak French, and he's like, no, I speak Spanish and French, and I'm like, wow, that's cool, but it's cool how that happens. Or
Yeah.
you'll see them walking in like lunch with like kids that don't speak any Spanish, and they're like friends somehow. It's like, well, how do you guys talk? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. It is super cool.
It is.
But I think that helps them learn English more because it's like, I really want to be your friend.
100%. 100%.
Well, I had a kid join the basketball team. He don't speak English.
Yeah.
But how do you communicate with your coach, You got to learn those skills. I think it's good.
Yeah. That's.
But it's good, again, like immersion.
Well, yeah. You don't learn unless you have to.
Just like e-learning.
Yeah.
I'm really sad. But
That we're not going back.
I get it.
Yeah.
I hate it. But,
I'm like I said, I saw it coming. I'm glad the decision has been made.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Sick of not being in
Right.
limbo or whatever they call it.
yeah, so at least now we know what's going on.
Yeah, and I guess it's good for the kids too. I know some of them messaged me and they were like, I'm really sad we're not going back, or like, how is it going to affect next year, or am I going to see you again?
That's interesting. I'm how do you think it's going to affect next year?
Well, I don't know. I heard some conversations about people saying, oh, well, they can repeat the grade if you feel like they didn't learn.
That is true.
I'm like, what? Or like for the reading classes, those classes are created based off standardized testing scores. So if they don't have that, they're just going to put those same kids back in reading again. Like, what?
It's going to be a mess.
That's why they got to get rid of standardized testing.
I would hate to be a guidance counselor at the beginning of next year.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, too, is I'm sure that kids are enrolling in school right now because they've moved for whatever reason during this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
worried about all the ELL kids I don't know are even here yet and are taking classes I don't know if they're supposed to be taking because they're not taking my class.
That's
So it's like a lot of paperwork / compliance issues. Like it's just gonna be a shit show coming into next year.
Oh,
like what
man.
classes do you take? Well, I don't know. Like what?
Because you will get that answer. They don't know.
I don't know. Like we're gonna have to look at the previous year FSA scores.
I don't know.
But kids, I don't know. It's going to be, or maybe they're gonna make every kid take like an entrance exam again, and see how much they've learned over e-learning, and then place them that way.
Well, that's what I think, and thinking
It's
about
not a bad idea.
thinking about how much work some of these teachers are giving them, like English teachers, and
Oh my God, so much.
I got to think like, because their teachers are thinking of I have to get through all this stuff. That's what's
But
in
they
their head.
don't. They don't
I know.
anymore.
Well,
Unless at the end of the year they're like, oh, by the way, you should have been teaching standards this whole time because we're going to give them the FSA in August.
right, but like there is
Oh,
next
no.
year. So what if I am a freshman this year? I take the FSA next year, right? As a
Mm-hmm.
sophomore, the one that counts. And, yeah, I guess like there's gonna be kids that are getting screwed. The kids that are
Yeah.
like on the edge,
Yeah, the
they're
bucket
gonna have a
kids.
bad time.
Well, I feel like you're gonna have a large dip in. Well, I don't know. Maybe they won't have a large dip in. I don't know. Because some people are like, oh, kids are gonna lose a lot of their learning through e-learning, and I'm like, well, maybe they're gaining more too.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think I appreciate
positive.
your hope. I really do.
Like, yeah, they're just googling all this shit.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily a bad way to learn, Googling all that shit.
no, you're right. It's not.
but,
That's true. But
I think it's more for things like writing essays. Like they're not getting,
oh, they're not getting skills like that.
Maybe they are, but that's it's gotta suffer. It's gotta suffer for sure.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to learn some good things, like how to save a file and how to use Microsoft. And maybe they'll learn how to type better. Or maybe some professionalism through their writing. We're going to pray and hope about that.
Yeah.
That's going to be my lesson next week. Or the week after. I already did my lesson for next week.
I think they will come out of this as stronger people.
I think so, too, because you're facing adversity.
Yeah.
And something that no one's really ever faced before.
No, it's pretty crazy.
In this generation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, am I sad? Yes. But
Will you get over it?
yeah, I'll get over it. But I mean, I'm glad graduation is rescheduled. So I'm praying that this
That's gonna be
whole
interesting.
virus won't last until then because
Yeah, when is it? June something?
July.
Oh, is it really July?
July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So at least I have time to do the senior banquet that I had planned for my kids and their families.
When are you going
So-
to do that?
I'm going to do it in June.
Will you be allowed to?
Well, we better freaking damn well be able to because it was supposed to be April 30th, and here we are. So it's kind of depressing. But, you know,
It'll be
there's a
alright.
positive side to everything. So
That's true.
it's nice being home. It's nice learning things that I didn't know about online and things, whatever.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you know,
Yeah, I do know.
you feel like you're missing part of yourself.
What?
That's
Do
how
you
I
feel like you're missing part of yourself?
I was like, am I the only one?
Um,
Well, we talked about that last week.
yeah,
You feel like part of you's missing?
no, I don't feel like part of me is missing. I do miss my kids.
Maybe I'm just dramatic.
What's that?
I go, maybe I'm just dramatic.
You are for sure dramatic, but
mean-
yeah, I mean, it hasn't. I don't know. I feel like I don't have any feelings right now.
Oh, you're just
I
a
just-
man. Just a man. Normal man with no emotion. I'm like, oh my God, part of my soul is missing. I'm like, these kids are my life. I'm being serious.
I know you
feel
are.
like they are part of me and I miss them and I like having purpose. And I don't want to step on that. You know, I just miss them.
Yeah.
You know, they're my peeps.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, they're.
yeah.
But anyway, we want to hear how you guys feel about school closures or, you know, cancellations for graduation and
How are you handling e-learning? What's it like for you?
what are you doing? Give us some advice, because
We're struggling.
I'm
She's
missing
struggling.
a part of me. So yeah, so you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is Teaching Off the Books.
That's Twitter. My bad.
Oh yeah, Instagram is Teaching Off the Books, and on Twitter it is
TOTB Pod.
Yep, and you can find us on our YouTube channel, Teaching Off the Books too.
Yeah, leave your comments in the comments section. Hit us up on email at teachingoffthebooks@gmail.com and let us know what you want to hear about.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you send us your story. All right, guys, pencils down.
Drinks up.